Welcome to this week's Priority Report. I'm Ricki, Pryor, editor of the Richmond Register, and my special guest this week is Melissa Slone, case manager for Madison Home. So stay tuned.
The Priority Report is brought to you by Cumberland Valley National Bank, trusted for banking, known for caring. Visit them at cvnb.com. Chenault Vineyards, a place to create beautiful experiences. Visit them online at chenaultvineyards.com. Shelter Insurance, Ashley Kovaleski. Give her a call, 859-624-0883, located 112 Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. And kymedia.net.
Well, Melissa, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So, for those of our viewers that may not be familiar with Madison Home, could you kind of give the background, how it started, and what the program does?
Absolutely. So, Madison Home started from a Room in the Inn platform that was being developed from other cities, and then Richmond and Berea both took on that platform. So, they were housing the homeless in churches. And then a local citizen decided to purchase a building that would Room at the Inn would be allowed to use to house. So then you have Madison Home, which currently is doing a lunch program. So 5 days a week we're serving lunch at Madison Home every day of the week except Sunday and Thursday. Anybody who is food insecure or homeless can come and get a meal, no questions asked.
That's great. And so for those that might need the services, how does Madison Home, help them, or how does that process kind of work?
So Madison Home is basically ran by the board of directors. We're ran by volunteers. There is no paid staff, so everybody who is involved are people who wants to be there, which is another reason that this is great, because you have people here who are passionate about being here, and this is genuinely what they want to do. So some of the things we offer outside of getting meals, you can get clothing.
Wow.
You can get hygiene supplies from our clothing closet. We have various services that people can get. Peer support is there. So anyone experiencing addiction, wanting to get into a recovery program, we have a peer support specialist there that can help that person find sober living houses, transitional housing, whatever they need in that addiction recovery. There's case management there. So someone is there every day providing case management services, helping people get signed up for Section 8 and the Housing Authority. Let's see what else. We're doing SNAP benefits, making sure people who are disabled, they get signed up for disability. Veterans services are there, so we can do referrals to Foothills to get people set up with veterans housing. There's counseling available.
Wow.
So it's just literally a pot where we want this to be a one-stop shop for everyone who needs it. Clearly in Madison County, transportation is a barrier, especially when you're homeless. You can't get on this side of town to go to a doctor's appointment, this side of town to get to a counseling appointment. So we want everything to be right here so that it's accessible to everybody. We have the Madison Health Department come in twice a month with their harm reduction van. They're doing hepatitis screening, offering Narcan to folks. Baptist Health has their mobile health unit come in twice a month so people can get physicals, access to health care. So we have all of these services going on. No one is turned away. If you need help, come here and get the services that are being offered.
That's amazing. So it sounds like you guys have really kind of partnered and done everything to make it easier for those that are experiencing homelessness to be able to kind of get there and tap into a lot of resources.
Absolutely. We are trying our best to meet people where they are and address their needs. We have people living in their cars. We have people living in tents. Homelessness it's a growing problem here in Madison County. It's not going to get better. We are starting to see influx from people who are being displaced from Hurricane Ian. People are displaced from the floods in eastern Kentucky. So we are seeing all these people come through our doors and needing help.
Right. I mean, that is something, because I know I talk to a lot of readers and a lot of people that are concerned about the homelessness problem. And they're like, oh, it seems like it's just kind of come out of nowhere. So what are kind of the mitigating factors that you've seen in your work that kind of are kind of creating this kind of growing problem? Besides the natural disasters that you just listed, but
inflation. I mean, you have people who, they might be able to afford their bills, but by the time they pay their bills, they don't have money left over for food. So they have to come over and they get the free meals that we offer. I'm seeing people from the nearby senior citizen place. I mean, they are walking 4 or 5 blocks to get a lunch meal. You are seeing people who they have money they have income, they get Social Security or disability, but I talked to a local rental place and they want 3 months rent. Who can pay that up front? So people are choosing to live in tents. People are choosing to live in their cars because that's what's affordable.
Now, and homelessness, I mean, when we say homelessness, I mean, that can mean, it's just housing insecurity.
Right.
So you might, be, like you said, you have an income and you pay the bills, but you just don't have like a permanent residence that's safe or secure.
Absolutely. I mean, I receive phone calls every day from people who are, literally hours away from being evicted and need a place to go. People who are staying in hotels, and if I don't come up with another night's, fee within so many hours, me and my family are going to be on the streets. It is a problem, and we as a community need to get together to help resolve it. If we don't have community effort, then it's going to continue to get worse.
Very good point. So, I mean, winter is coming up, and obviously that's kind of a crucial time for people in this situation to find housing and stuff. So, what is Madison Home doing to kind of prepare for these winter months? It's already getting kind of chilly at night.
It absolutely is, and it's scary because what we don't want is we don't want to see so many situations like we've seen in previous winters where people are being found in tent camps and they're frozen to death because it's so cold. So we are trying to address that issue as winter approaches. Right now we are gearing up and trying to take whatever donations we can get, as much as we can get, to gear up for winter. Coats, blankets, tents, all of these things are that we need to stock up on in order to get ready for winter. We have some upcoming things going on. This coming Saturday, we have Cram the Cruiser in Berea. So you can come down to the Berea Walmart. You can go in and you can purchase items and stuff them in to the Berea Police Department Cruiser to help us get ready for those things. We currently have a GoFundMe set up where we're trying to raise the funds so that we can make much needed renovations to our building so that we can house people this winter. We recently got approval for conditional housing, so that means we can open our doors to folks this winter, but we won't be able to do that unless we get the resources that we need, the financial resources, so that we can make these renovations. We need an updated kitchen. We need a sprinkler system. We need all of these things so that we can have people in our building where it's safe, where it's warm this winter, and not in camps with tents behind buildings on the railroad tracks. This is not what we want to see this winter.
So, I mean, that permit that you got is big news.
Yes,
being able to
absolutely.
open your doors up. So, and the barrier there, I mean, you've got the permit that was just recently granted. So the barrier there is the financial.
It's the financial, yes.
So when we're talking about just for those that are concerned and want to be involved, I mean, how impactful is homelessness in Madison County? About how many people are you seeing come kind of through the doors? I know numbers are kind of hard, but in general.
Numbers are very hard, but what I can tell you is where we started and where we are now. So when I started helping out at Madison Home back in April, I was seeing probably between 10 and 15 people a week. That number is up to 50 to 60 people a week.
Oh my.
So it is growing, and it is growing quickly. Again, we're not just talking about people who literally have nowhere to go. Living in our cars. Families are living in their cars. Children are going to school, and they are living in their car. That's not Madison County, and we can't let that be Madison County.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned, the children that are affected in its entire families that are in need of help. Homelessness, could you talk about demographics a little bit, about age ranges and stuff? I know it's kind of like,
We don't see a whole lot of kids come through, but what we do get is we get a lot of phone calls with families, that are experiencing, they're seeing the impact of inflation, and they are crying out for help. So we don't see a lot of children, but we do get those calls from a lot of families. But we are seeing veterans, you name it, Black, white, Hispanic. We're seeing everybody. Veterans, people who have jobs, but they just still cannot afford a place to go. So we're seeing all these things, and the problem just trickles down because, you get people who, they get hurt, they go to the emergency room. Well, the emergency room cannot discharge these folks if they have nowhere to go. So then you get a heart attack victim come into the emergency room, and there's no bed because a homeless person is taking up that bed because there's nowhere for them to go. So all of these things just affect everything. So we can't have homeless people taking up our emergency room.
Right.
So we really need some place for people to go. You get jail, people are discharged from jail. Where do they go? They have nowhere to go, and all of these people need a place to go. Clearly we have Hope Swings for domestic violence and all those things, but we have nowhere for our homeless to go. Not in Richmond, not in Berea, and yes, Winchester, Lexington have places for people to go, but these are citizens of Madison County. They don't want to go to Winchester.
Right.
They don't want to go to Lexington. They want to stay at home, and it's our job as a community to keep them here.
Right, and like what you pointed out, this is their home, and a lot of these people do have jobs that have income, and you can't travel back and forth from Winchester to here, and be very difficult, especially with the transportation needs. I know that it's shocking sometimes when I'm like, when I discuss with people, I'm like, it's a lot like drug addiction. Like, there's no kind of demographic that it hits.
Absolutely.
And the trickle down. I'm glad you talked about the emergency room. The homelessness affects other resources and other places in Madison County. So if you don't solve this problem, it's only just going to get worse.
Absolutely, and it makes a difference when it hurts differently when you see somebody standing on a corner with a sign and they're asking for help and you don't know who that person is. But it hits a lot differently when you're pulling off the highway and you see someone standing there and you go, oh, hey, there's Richard. It's different when you know these folks by name. It's different when, they're pulling dead bodies out of encampments and you say, oh, that was such and such. He was just here last week to get a meal. So it definitely hits differently.
Yeah, obviously this is a compassion thing.
Absolutely.
The city and the county. You want. I'm glad you said they live here. They're our citizens, and the fact that this is a growing problem. And it seems like it could be so simple to help out. Where you said the Cream the Cruiser, and there's a list of items. Where would they find that list of items this Saturday?
You can find the list of items on our website, madisonhome.org. You can find the information on our Facebook page as well. So the flyer is there. It shows the list of items that we're looking for: hygiene supplies, blankets, water, Gatorade, sweatshirts, coats, socks, men and women's underwear, all of those things to help us get geared up for winter. Snack items, protein bars, tuna kits, all those things that we can send people out into the community with, and they can eat it without it needing to be cooked or heated up. Tents, you got some people who they just don't want a permanent house. They like living in their tent, or they can't afford to live in a house. So a tent is their only option, but they can't afford a tent. So we need tents.
They are expensive.
They are expensive. So tents, sleeping bags, all those things.
And this is, Madison Home, it's to prevent the worst from happening. I know our coroner, and we speak to the coroner very often, and there have been deaths.
Absolutely.
In encampments in town. There have been, a lot of people who are listed as homeless and police records that are dying. So
Absolutely.
it is happening. And so Madison Home, you're kind of getting that barrier to get that help before the worst happens.
Absolutely, and we can't have that not in my backyard mentality. The issue is it's here, it's growing, and it's not getting better. So it is in your backyard, whether you want it to be or not. It's here. So the best thing we can all do as a community is support Madison Home, help us open our doors so that folks have a place to go.
Well, it seems like there's very different options to do that. So you can participate in Cram the Cruiser. You can donate financially. I'm sure every little bit helps. Yes. Any other ways that people, are you taking volunteers or anything like that?
Yes. If you want to volunteer, we're happy to have you. Come over to Madison Home, talk to myself, talk to one of the other volunteers, the board members. We love volunteers. We always need volunteers. Winter is coming, so we'll need more volunteers for sure then. If you have supplies you want to donate, someone is there to take those donations, whether it's non-perishable foods, clothing, coats, things like that. People can always bring directly to the shelter. The financial donations, again, those can be donated on our GoFundMe page. Those can be, you can send in a check, you can drop off a check. We try to make it easy for people so we can get those resources. Like I said, our biggest thing right now is we need those financial resources so that we can make these renovations so that we can open our doors as quickly as possible.
Like you said, winter's coming. We're knocking on November,
Yes.
So, and it's already getting cold. So there is an immediate need.
It is immediate need. We need to raise these funds quickly so that we have time to make the renovations so that we can open our doors before the weather turns for the worse.
Excellent. Is there anything else that you would like to tell our viewers about this issue or Madison Home specifically that we haven't discussed that you feel very passionate about or very important? It's very important.
Yeah, our biggest thing is, you can show your support financially. You can show your support by, it's election time.
Yeah.
Reach out to your representatives, reach out to your officials that are running for office. If you want my vote, then please support this.
Obviously, it's very needed in the county. So, very good point.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for taking the time, and thank you for what you do and Madison Home for kind of helping with this growing issue that we have in Madison County.
Thank you.
All right. Well, join me next week when I give you more news you need to know about. Thank you for watching.
The Pryority Report is brought to you by Cumberland Valley National Bank. Trusted for banking, known for caring. Visit them at cvnb.com. Chenault Vineyards, a place to create beautiful experiences. Visit them online at chenaultvineyards.com. Shelter Insurance, Ashley Kovaleski. Give her a call, 859-624-0883, located 112 Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. And kymedia.net. Download the Richmond Register News app on your favorite device or sign up and subscribe online at richmondregister.com.